So up till now in the course, we've provided a positioning piece around the history and evolution of value transfer and how virtual currency is part of the natural history and development. In part 2, unit 2, we looked at what criminals were doing, how terrorist financiers are moving value, their aims and objectives, and how virtual currency can be used to support those aims and objectives. Naturally, in response to criminal conduct, international legislators have introduced rules and regulations that meet and guide our response. Regrettably, laws and regulations aren't drafted by visionaries who look forward to the future and anticipate change. They are formed and created in response to criminal conduct and terrorist finance activity. We aren't yet at a position where we have a universal adoption of laws and regulations, but we are at a point where that now appears to be forming, driven primarily by Financial Action Task Force. So what we can do, and will do in Unit 3, is provide a signpost to those jurisdictions who have embraced the opportunity, have provided early legislation and regulation that will help to guide your understanding of what should be done, could be done to manage these important risks relating to virtual currencies. Laws and regulations are created in response to criminal news, awareness, and when we uncover just exactly how they're using and abusing virtual currencies. Actually, the laws and regulations that are adopted universally generally are provided by the United Nations and groups such as the Financial Action Task Force. So what we'll do in this part of the syllabus is direct you to where those authoritative documents and model laws are. And that's really helpful because then understanding what the high-level responsibilities and requirements are will enable you in your policy advisory, for example, and risk assessments, is to provide direction, guidance and advice to firms and businesses where there's an absence of current regulatory adoption. The hierarchy of laws filters through over a period of time and is ultimately translated at local jurisdiction level. And we are now seeing mass adoption. So we'll go to the source documents, and that I hope will provide really good empowering for you on this course. There is increasing expectation and responsibility for risk and compliance professionals to understand the laws and regulations that apply to virtual currency risks. Notwithstanding the fact that there hasn't yet been a global adoption of certainly laws and regulations around the world, there are some aspects of guidance, insights into laws that we can expect to be applied globally. And we'll certainly be going and looking at those on this part of the course in Unit 3. If I may, I'll use the analogy of football, which is the offside rule. What's really important is we understand the extent and the requirements of those laws and regulations so that we do not stray into an area that might be considered to be offside, illegal, or unregulated, non-compliant, dare I say. What's really important here is understanding where the laws are applicable, and that in itself helps to inform our risk-based approach. The absence of laws and regulations, for example, in a jurisdiction, may help to guide a higher risk business assessment. An exchange that's formed in an area where there are no laws and regulations, you might infer is higher risk than a business that's formed in a jurisdiction where they have been applied, for example. So understanding the laws and regulations, that information can be applied on very different levels. We've taken the time and effort to include the laws and regulations of many important jurisdictions, including Japan, the USA, Russia, Australia. But you do not need to have a law degree to complete the course, so hopefully that's provided some words of comfort. What we have done is include some high-level principles from those jurisdictions because they are important financial service centres, and we believe it's important for you to have an awareness of where some of those regulations have been applied, are applicable. And of course, you can use that then in your own assessment and draw upon that information when you're forming your own risk-based approach.